Hi, everybody. I'm just waiting on some more people to come in the room. Thank you all for joining me who already has come into the room. I appreciate it. Tonight is going to be story night. Um, and we just gonna see. Let's give some people some time enough to get into the room because they say, colorful is on color people time. So but we gonna give some people a chance to come into the room and then we gonna get started. Hi, everybody coming in. Hey, Miss Mary. Hey, VS. Good to see you in the building. Hey, Villa Breaker. Thanks for joining. Global Empire. Hi, thanks. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks. Yeah, if you can hit the likes, share, and the subscribe button if you can. I would really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you all for joining me. Hey, Bridge in the Gap. Hi, Tamika Armstrong. Good to see you all tonight. Thank you all for joining. When we get let's see if we can get 20 people in here just to start off from there. We can get 20 in here. Let's get it cracking right off from the get-go. And there you have it. Thank you all for joining me. It's a pleasure to be sitting here in front of you all. I'm smiling real big and beautiful right now, but the story that I'm about to tell can be a cautionary tale. I want it to be a cautionary tale because I want some people to do some things different. I'm gonna give my disclaimer and I'm gonna say this is going to be about my life, so it is about people who are related to me. I do not have any hate or anything like that towards the people that I will be talking about in this video, but this is my story and my life, and I feel like instead of letting it be in vain, I'm gonna tell the story so nobody else don't make the same mistakes again. And this is coming from a place of when you a parent, you have to make the best decisions that you whether people think you being funny, acting funny, or whatever it may be, because whatever happens to your kids, whether it's your fault, it's gonna be your fault as a parent. Because you're probably gonna make it your fault, or somebody else gonna say that it's your fault. So with that being said, I'm just gonna say that this video is going to be about one of my many aunties. Um Again, I'm gonna say I have no hate towards her, but I must tell the story so that somebody else that may be listening can pick up a few jewels or something from this video and do something different, especially when it ain't working for you. So I'm gonna start with this was during the time my mom used to take us as kids to go watch Christmas lights and all of that kind of stuff as we were kids, and it was something fun that we enjoyed doing. And this one this one night, my aunt came by, and she was younger, but she was 10 years, I want to say 10 or 11 years older than I am. But she came through on this one particular night, and she was like, "Tonight I'm taking y'all to see Christmas lights." I remember being about 9 years old when this happened. I was very excited. I was very excited to be with my auntie because she was that fun auntie that, you know, you go and looking back on it, it was things you probably shouldn't have been doing at that time in your life. But nevertheless, I was going with them, and she was my favorite auntie to be around. But this night she picked us up, and I was ready to go and see these Christmas lights and everything, but it turned out to be very different on this night. She came and picked us up and took us to her house. And when we got to her house, we were put in this room, and then a movie was played. And this movie was not one of like a kid movie. This movie was for adults only, if you catch my drift. I'm 9 years old sitting in the room. And by the way, I'm going to add this in because this is an important part of the story. At this time in my life, I had already been touched by 6 men at this point. So now I'm sitting in front of this TV watching things that some of those things have happened to me, but in my 9-year-old body that I can't understand. But my auntie has taken me and took me out to supposedly look at Christmas lights, and we end up at her house watching P movies. I know we all in here smart enough to understand what the P movies are at 9 years old. And during that time, it was my brother who was he was 11 years old at this time. He was also in that room. But then a lot of other kids from the neighborhood. At the end of the day, I to me it seemed like it must have been about 10 of us in that one little bedroom, and this is what we watching. Um as 9 and 10 year olds. And all of these people were um around my age. Um, After that happened, I noticed it was a amp up of different things that she would take me to do. It went from and y'all, I'm gonna take my time because I'm saying this stuff off the cuff, but there's a lot of stuff that come in with it, and I'm easy to like go off and be talking forever and a day about all the different things that go along with it. But there used to be this place where I'm from. It was called the Tree, and it was like a place you can go and you can park your cars. You can go and get drinks, come back to your car and sit on your car. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but they did it and or whatever. But it was for people that were older. And there were times she would allow me to get in the car with her, and I would ride up there, and we'll be parked up there with all of those older people and everything. So I started to hang around a older a older crowd. And the people didn't really matter. It was more so about hanging around with my auntie. But it went from that to then talking to me about things that with me having kids now that I know shouldn't have conversations that I should not have, like who she was with, um, how she did it, the money that she made. Without saying too much, I know you all can catch on to what I'm saying. We was having those kinds of conversations. And it was all under the basis of my mom trusting her sister. So I make this lie to say that a person can be your sister, they can even be your mama. And if they don't agree or associate with the things of the way you trying to raise your kids and stuff, sometimes you got to make that call no matter what it is that you want to do and say no. And I've lived by that for a very long time based off the things that happened with me and my aunt. She would take me places to see things that I should not have seen. Talk to me about things that I should not have been talked to about, especially during those times. It was almost like I was her confidant or something. But 10 years old, she was 10 years older than me. And so I tell the story about my auntie because this is my mom's sister who my mom was trusting to let take me places. And I don't know if at some point, like my mom knew it, but she let me go with her and do things that I can never imagine allowing anybody with my kids. So it taught me that when I had my kids, I didn't trust anybody with my kids. Not at all. It didn't matter. And I wasn't ashamed to say it because I had lived it. Nobody ain't have to tell me I lived it. So I didn't allow people to babysit my kids. I didn't allow my kids to stay the night over my house. And if they ever stayed the night over somebody's house, you had to know you were somebody who was very well trusted. um, but those things have taught me. And sometimes if you looking at a family member and they doing things that you don't quite agree with it, especially with their own kids, then sometimes you need to step back and reevaluate whether you want your kid to go along with that right there. Because if they do it in front of you, they'll do it to your kids too. So for me, um, I learned a lot. I learned a lot of things just from that. Yes, I do absolutely still love my auntie. I absolutely do. But do I look at it and I realize that the things that she was doing, was it right? Nope. And I tell this story because I'm gonna add this part in it just to show you that how differently this could have went. And y'all, I'm telling you, I'm intentionally not reading the chat right now because if I did read the chat, honey, this conversation I won't even be able to get out because I'll be trying to answer every question or whatever being said in the chat. So I would just carry on with the story, and I'm almost through with it, and then I'll go back through the chat and read it then. But I'm telling this story because my aunt didn't know how this story was going to end. She taught me all of those things that I then could have turned around and taught her kids because I ended up raising her children. The same aunt that taught me all of this stuff, I ended up raising her kids. So what I took from her, what if I would have took it and I would have applied all of those things that she taught me to the way that I raised her children? So I'm saying if you looking at a sister, a brother, or whoever, you have to look at the behavior. 2 years ago, I was watching Kwame Brown, and he told me for the first time. He didn't tell specifically me, but I took it as he was talking to me because I was there during the time when he said it. He say, "Stop paying attention to what people say and pay attention to their behavior." And I tell you that statement changed a lot of things about the way that I see things. Because people can tell you anything, but honey, if you ain't watching their behavior, a person can tell you 50 things in their ear, but they can exhibit all the things that they telling you because you ain't paying attention to their behavior themselves. Um, so be careful. And again, I'm gonna say, I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, whoever it may be. Because I'm telling you, none of it ain't worth risking because anything that happened to your kids, honey, that's gonna ride on your back. I don't care whether you was there, you was not a part of it. It's going to ride your back because you're going to feel the guilt of that right sitting on your back, whatever happens to your kids during their life. So I'm telling you, don't second guess it. If you feel some type of way about a family member or something that's in front of you, keep it pushing and do what you got to do. Keep your own kids around you. I'm telling you, this happened to me with an aunt. So if my mom should not have trusted her sister in the way that she did, then what am I saying to you? And again, I'm going to say to the people who I'm talking to, I am not angry at my auntie or no nothing, but this is my story. So I have to tell people and warn people because I feel guilty with having the information and not being able to tell somebody else that may be second guessing and thinking, um, I could just let my kids go with my sister because she's my sister. Nope. When it comes down to your kids, you got to have a trust out of this world to let that kid walk and leave out of your hand. Because whatever happened to them, you responsible for them. I don't care who got them in their custody. I'm responsible for mine. So, um, and people may be mad about you, mad with the way that you make a decision on what you gonna do with your kids. But at the end of the day, honey, if you can make it, if you can get your kids to make it through age 18 without having the traumas that I had in my life, honey, let them all fly out the window. Let them go. But I'm telling you, you watch the behavior, and if you've seen some things that you don't quite trust and you don't want your kids introduced to, it's gonna tell you everything you need to know about whether you want your kid to go with that one that right there. Now, see, aunties are supposed to be that person that a kid can go with and have fun with them, but not the kind of fun. I don't even want to say fun, but not the kind of things that my aunt was taking me to do. So I'm gonna go back through the chat and see what's going on up in here. I appreciate you all for coming through and showing me some love. This is only my second live. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I got a great teacher that be teaching me some stuff behind the scenes, honey. So everything that I'm learning, with her and my son staying on top of me, I'm getting it. Um, let's see. I just want to say hello to everybody and thank you for coming through and supporting me. Um, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up and the like and make sure you comment after. You absolutely right, Global Empire. We all can learn something new, especially with being this parent and things. Different stuff come up every single day, and people have questions for it. And sometimes you second guessing yourself about what it is that you should be doing with them. And sometimes you have to go with that first voice that come in your head because that first voice is usually the right one. You always end up second guessing that one right there. And you're right. I heard somebody say earlier, the day you think you don't need to learn no more, you should go ahead and be dead. If you don't want to learn anything else, you should be learning for the rest of your life. OMG, I'm trying to stay strong and hang in there, but that makes my heart heavy hearing that. Yeah, Vella, I unfortunately I've had a lot of events and I'm sharing them a little bit at a time, but this one right here that I'm thinking that I was talking about tonight was I talked about it based off of it keeps coming into my mind over and over again. So I feel like I need to release it. Whenever something comes and it just keep playing over and over again in my head, it's like I feel like I need to release it. And when I release it, I feel like it's going to a person that probably needs to hear it because they struggling with that at that moment. So that makes me feel better that I can do something with somebody and possibly prevent a kid from going through some of the stuff that I went through. So, because God knows there's already enough stuff out here in this world for these kids already. They don't need no extra stuff. It's okay, love. Take your time. Thank you very much. Um, then, to all anybody that knows me knows I despise pride. I hate all of them with a passion. Woo, Bella, if you probably went down my timeline and you'll see you probably hate a lot of people that been in my life. Thanks again for sharing the video. Tell your story for others who need to hear and know, maybe to break the cycle and the secret. Yeah, J Mac, absolutely. And that is the reason why I tell my story. She said, tell your story for others who need to hear and know, maybe to break the cycle of family secrets. I see a strong, I see a strong woman who wants to share her story and truth. Absolutely, I do. And for all of those reasons that you say, if I can prevent it from happening to somebody else, then I don't mind telling the story. Shani Harris said, God bless you, Miss Lady. You have a beautiful soul that opens up and give people strength and courage to speak on and speak up. But God is good and don't apologize. Just this is growth for you. Shani, I try not to do too much apologizing for it, but I also want people to know that just because I'm telling the story don't mean that I hate these people in my family. Because I absolutely do not. Like I said, I'm telling the story um, so that it can prevent harm or something else from coming from a something. This is my way of getting pleasure from the pain that I experienced when I was a young kid. So let's just say it like that. You don't deserve that, and it's not your fault. You are so strong in God's. Thank you very much, Vela Breaker. Amen. Exactly. She has a testimony to tell the whole world her story. Thank you, blinged out beauty. Yeah, I do have a story and quite extensive story, and I'm gonna be all over the place when I tell them because I tell the stories as if the stories bother me from the inside and it keep I made one other video I would that and I don't want to get too far off into that one because I told you I can tell a million stories in one live, but um when I find stuff is bothering me now, I'm just gonna come on here and release it because this stuff I dealt with long time ago. So I've had times to work through it, talk to people about it and everything. And so but when it get inside of me and I feel like it just keep replaying in my mind, no, I gotta come on here and tell it. Do you feel like she was grooming you? Woo, lady A. Um, dang, that's a deep question right there. And to tell you the truth, I really don't know what she was doing, but when I think about it now at this time, it make me wonder, where did she learn that from? Where did she get that from? Why did she think that it was okay for me to be teaching those things? And that's something um she knows that my aunt knows that I'm a talker and everything, but to sit down and actually have this conversation with her and ask her why did she think the things that she was showing me at the age that I was, why did she think that they were okay? I don't know. But then looking back at it, I also would think because my auntie is also one of those. When in my other video that I talked about, there was a fight that broke out after something that had happened to me one night, and my auntie was one of those people that was fighting the person that had violated me. So it's like, I got questions about that too. I would love to have a conversation with my auntie to find out what that was about. Lady A, that was a good one right there. I would love to have a one-on-one conversation with you if possible. Shani Harris, that is possible to happen. Let me just get some time to learn some things and we can figure some things out to have a conversation because that's what I like to do. I don't know, even probably at the in this live somewhere, I probably can open up the live and let some people come up here and we can talk for a little while. Let me see. I got until about 8:30 that I can be on here. And we'll see. Still sharing. Thank you, Global Empire for sharing out the live. I appreciate that so much. I was thinking how people don't realize women can also be abusers. Oh my goodness, absolutely they can. Even though I haven't experienced that in my own way, but I've heard boys tell stories about things um women have done to them. So I don't pick no sides with whether it's a man or it could be a woman. I haven't had that experience in my life. But I definitely know I've had some people talk to me about the things that women do. Absolutely true. It's a never ending battle, something you can never heal from. Well, Vela Breaker, I don't know if I'm gonna heal from it, but I'm gonna go out fighting, seeing can I heal from it all the way. So Global, I highly agree. I keep my kids very close to me at all times. Hey, amen. I agree with that solely. I mean, everywhere I went, my kids went everywhere. everywhere I went. Hi, Jules. Thank you for joining. I know exactly who you are. I like looking at your commentary. Jules is over on TikTok, y'all. She is a good conversationalist. I love to see her and VS up on a panel together. Thank you for coming over and joining. But can can cope. You're wonderful. You're awesome. You're courageous. You're everything, my sister. Thank you so much. Let the spirit lead you. I try. I try. Um Warning, warning comes before destruction. Always be aware and pay attention to the signs. I can't tell you how much that is a true statement. Um I'm telling you, when you got somewhere, when you think of something that you about to do with your kids, or you about to relinquish your kids to somebody, if there's something that's saying no, don't do it, you better go with your first mind. That because, and I thank God that I'd never been in a position where I had to go and let anybody babysit my kids in that way. I didn't have to work, um any of that stuff, so I was able to be there with my kids. So unfortunately, a lot of people ain't able to do that. And also too, I was raised by a single mom, so I did single mama stuff. So I was like that superhero that I did everything. I tried to do everything on my own. And I told somebody today, actually, I'm a married woman, but I don't actually know how to be a married woman because I was raised by a single woman. So even though I've been married for 20 some years, I'm still learning how to be a married woman because I was raised by a single woman. Tashana, you grew up fast and had a lot of knowledge about what was did to you, and not what that for your kids that happened to you. Absolutely. That makes you an awesome mom. And J Mac, that goes along to say, doesn't mean that I didn't make mistakes, because my kids taught me a lot of stuff. Growing up, all of the things that happened to me when I was a kid, it's like you have to grow up and learn how to undo the things that you were taught when you go growing up. It's like I know some of y'all done been in here where you get your hair done by your mom and she pop you upside the head with a comb. Kind of like that story right there. If you grow up getting popped in your head with the comb, chances are you will grow up and do the same to your kids. And that's something, we'll laugh about it and say, my mama used to pop me upside the head with the comb and stuff. But when you was going through it, it wasn't funny at all. So then when you grow up and when you're raising your kids and you discover that you're doing things to your kids that was done to you and you realize that it didn't feel good, that's when you know it's time for you to work on it and do something different. Because just like it didn't work for you, it ain't gonna work for them. Miss Claudia, thanks you for stopping by and showing love. Um, did your aunt know? I apologize if my question is offensive, but I'm curious. Vela, I don't mind the questions. Go ahead and ask them. I don't understand what you say when you said did your aunt know? No more suffering in silence. Time we speak out. Amen to that. I'm down with that. That's how I've been able to start freeing myself by speaking out. We speak for the voiceless. A moment of silence is needed. That's why being a hermit and a high priest is important in the shaman's community. Hmm. Woo, I don't had a couple of things, and I'm still right now. For as long as I've been quiet for 47 years, and I've just now, the last 2 years, I've been telling all of my stories, and not all of my stories, because a lot of my family members are not strong enough to sit in and listen to some of the things that happened to me. Um, so I don't even go to them with it. But I've been silent for a long time, and I never thought that when I finally opened up my mouth, so many people have been through some of the same things that I've been through. Um, and in a weird way, it's always, and I hate to say it because it sounds so horrible. I ain't out here alone. This is something I don't want nobody. I don't want people to know to have this part of my life. This something that in a weird way I would say, I wish I was on the limb by myself, that nobody didn't understand what I was going through. And I'm gonna move past that one because that's a little touchy right there. The silence. Here for the first time. Hey TC Mac, thank you for joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see my son in the chat. still, still standing, still smiling. You are beyond strong. Thank you very much. I try to be in those times, but I still have moments where it's like, Lord Jesus, this thing feel like it just happened yesterday. I believe this is why our planet is purging the crimes against children. Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm getting tired of hearing about it over and over and over again. But parents, like, I've heard so many stories about parents that didn't make the right decisions for their children. And I can see the guilt and the heaviness that it puts on a parent. So I've been one of those parents. I want to go out swinging and banging. So I know at the end of the day, I can rest easy knowing that I did everything that I know in my book that I could do to prevent one of my children from having to go through half of the stuff that I went through. Your spirit is amazing. Continue to trust yourself and teach. Thank you. Finding what's true to me. Mahalia Kid, ladies and gentlemen. Um, a aunt somewhat supposed to be a second mom who shows love and respect and protects you. That's what they supposed to be. That's just how I feel. And I feel like if a person is your sister, I do feel like they supposed to be like that person that when you can't trust nobody, you can trust this. And I'm not saying that nobody don't have that one, but I'm saying pay attention to the behavior of what people doing. And sometimes you just got to go with what your inside's telling you. It have to be no sometimes. Because whatever happened to them is going to be your responsibility whether they was with you or not. And go with that small voice. It never leads you wrong. You absolutely right about that. And that small voice is something I ignored for a very long time until one day I learned how to talk to myself. Talking to myself was one of the best things that I learned how to do was talk to myself. And it pretty much went something like this. Whenever I would feel anxiety in my stomach, I would talk to myself and say, okay, Shauna, well, I call myself Shauna. What's making that feeling come in your stomach? And I sit with it and I think about what made it come in, and whatever made that feeling come in my stomach, I'm willing to stand in it at that moment because I don't want to feel that feeling in my stomach no more. So I'm asking myself questions, answering my own questions, and then moving ahead with it and doing something about it so I don't feel that ever again. And sometimes it don't work the first time. You have to do it several times, have conversations with yourself. You will eventually switch it up. You are an amazing person, Mr. Shauna. Thank you, Charlie. Hi, thank you for coming through. Thank you, thank you. Charlie is one of my moderators, you all. I thank you very much for coming through. I got other moderators up in here. I can't necessarily see all of them, child. I can't be trying to do too much because I already halfway know what I'm doing right now, but it's still good to be here, chatting with the people. And I think I seen one of my other moderators in the building. I think Pretty Brown. Hey girl, how you doing? Um, keep on gleaming when the next glamour camping season when you ready. Ooh, you go you go glamour camping, honey. How did you deal with all that responsibility so long? Um, Charlie, that's a big one right there because I can't even tell you how I learned how to do all of those responsibilities, but I don't even remember learning it. When it's pressed into you and you don't have a choice, I guess it's just go in you because from age 11 is the first time that I knew that I was responsible for a 3-year old at age 11. I felt like I was totally responsible for her at age 11. So I don't know if I really learned how to do it. It was pressed into me. Not something that I asked for, not something that I wanted, but it was pressed into me. Mm. Hey, Shalissa. That's another one of my moderators there. I see somebody speaking to. Hey, Miss Shauna. Hey, Pineapple Grenades. Um, is that somebody spamming? Mm-mm. Child, I'm seeing a whole bunch of stuff up here, and I don't know what that mean. I guess it's like that means somebody spamming in the chat or something. I don't know. Did your auntie ever apologize to you? No, my auntie has never apologized to me, and actually, I believe that she is not. Mm, I don't think she that comfortable with having this conversation. Not at this time. Not at this time in her life. And everybody get there in the point that they get there. I can't force nobody. I can tell my stories the way I see them. Um, and hopefully one day when they ready that they will have the conversation. I can't be on pause because everybody else on pause no more. I done did that for far too long. Wondering if um it's a frequency because the empathetic ones are all delving into these issues lately. Mm. I am everything. Are you okay? Okay. Wonder if it happened to her. Global empire. You hit it right on the head because see that's my thinking for somebody to be able to teach it to you what was taught to them. So I even have that too. Everything that happened to me, even the things that I view as my mom did to me or responsibilities she don't know me, in order for her to be doing those things to me, I also go back in my mind and I think, what was my mom life like? And a lot of people also don't know that my mom was given up for adoption when she was, so she was not raised by, my mom was not raised by her mom. So I don't know a whole lot about it. I didn't find out that my mom was adopted until almost right before she passed. So, you know, and there's a whole lot of, you know, we can go down the line about that. But I always think that global empire that um did that happen to her as a child? Did that happen to my aunt as a child for her to, was people having conversations with her that they shouldn't have been having with her when she was young like that? Um you read my mind. Hey, I am. Grooming is real. Definitely believe grooming is real. If you don't believe it, I mean, take your eyes off your kid for a moment. I mean, we had a strong belief back in the days. My kids know you don't ask nobody for no money or no nothing. You ain't allowed. You can't even get a nickel from nobody coming across the street or no nothing. I don't care if they want to give them to. One time I was in the grocery store and I turned my back to grab some fruit. And when I turned around, my two of my girls had $2 in each hand. And I was horrified when I turned around. And I don't know if anybody else get that offended about it, but honey, I was offended that somebody had gave my two girls $2 after I turned my back in the grocery store. I asked my kids, I say, hey, where did this money come from that they had? And they sitting there with them the $2 waving in their hand. Honey, I took them $2 right from out of both of their hand and walked right on to the lady that they pointed out and said gave it to them. I don't care if it was a lady or a man or whatever. Took it right back to her and I told her, ma'am, I don't think it's a good idea that you give kids money without talking to the parent that they with. I said, do you know how many things happen to kids that receive money from other people? She got mad. I don't care how mad you get, honey. She received it for a second and she got mad about it. And then she turned back around later and she said, well, can I give the money to you and give it back to them later? I said, because she changed her spirit, in my opinion, I was able to take the $4 that she had given me, and I was able to give them back to. I never gave them to. I never gave it to my kids. What I did was stuffed it in they little penny bank or whatever when we got home. I never told them that the lady gave me back no money because I wanted to stand flat foot on them knowing you don't take no money from no strangers. But then on the other side of it, when my kids would see like they uncle ride through the neighborhood, because my kids was raised in a neighborhood like was family owned neighborhood. Family was everywhere in the neighborhood. They uncle would ride through, and my little the baby at the time, she run up to the truck and she asked her uncle, "Can I get $1?" And he give her $1, and then she'll turn around and brag, "Huh? I got me $1 now." And you can't say nothing about it because this my uncle that I'm getting $1 for. But little did she know, honey, if your uncle wasn't right, in my opinion, you wouldn't even got that dollar from him. But we gonna move on from that. But he was definitely a good uncle. um, Here's what I'm saying. I love you always, no matter what. But I am not going to like you at times. This is what I tell my love. You absolutely right about that, J Mac. There's times that you can love somebody. I know there's times that a lot of people in my family don't like me because since I haven't been quiet, I'm like that talker. When we go on family reunions and stuff like that, I ain't the one that I want to go out and be doing 500 things. I be wanting to sit down and talk about things that done happened in the family and let's work these things out. Like yeah, I be on that type of stuff. But when you join in things like that, you got to do a little bit of what everybody like. But I love getting down to the bottom of things and having family discussions and working some things out in the family. Um, she took us everywhere. I was old enough to choose to go, but I was right there with her. Yeah, this my sister in the chat. She is one of the ones that I raised. And yes, she was definitely old enough to be home alone, honey. I didn't care. You can be 15, 16, 17. Nobody don't stay alone in our house. It didn't go down like that at our house. We don't leave no kids. Nobody don't stay home unsupervised. I know the things that can happen. Another one of the things that my auntie was doing was she would have me help her sneak out of the house at nighttime. So if she got me helping her to sneak out of the house at nighttime, she's also teaching me how to sneak out of the house at nighttime. I can remember my grandma would lock the door at nighttime, and if you unlock the door from the inside and you went out, you could not lock the door back like grandma had the door lock. So she had to incorporate me into it so I can put the locks and stuff back like it was. But all at the same time, if you showing a child, come lock this door back and you know I'm sneaking out of the house, be quiet, don't say nothing. You also teaching me how to do the wrong thing at the same time. Pay attention to behavior. She took us everywhere. I was old enough. Yeah, I already said that. I told you. Yeah, they went everywhere that I went. I ain't leave no kids home, no kids left behind. We need these types of podcasts, praying many feel healing through it and have the encourage to share their testimonies as well. Absolutely, I do. I hope some other people start coming out and sharing it. And like I said, though I wish that nobody I wish In a weird way of me saying it, but it ain't no better way to say it. When I say these things, I kind of wish that I was out there on a limb by myself, but then when I posted it, there's millions upon millions of people going through the same thing that I'm going through. So if I can help somebody get through that, then my journey wasn't in vain. Um Rather be safe than sorry. Always be aware of energies or auras, red flags. Good God gave us sense for a reason. Use and exercise that decrement intuition. You are absolutely right. Use your intuition every single time. It just became like a no question asked for me. I took my kids absolutely everywhere. At a certain point, I even started to blame my husband and say he don't never spend time with the kids or know none of that. And it took another man to be able to tell me. Well, how did you get to that place? Oh, I take my kids everywhere I go. And then when you realize that you've set it up that way, and now you trying to get of it, you gotta, kind of back up out of it. But there's been times that I've blamed my husband for my over, but again, I said I was raised by a single mother, so I know how to be a single mother. On a daily basis, I'm learning how to be a wife. And when I say that in a minute, I do things as if I don't have a partner that can help me do the things that I need to do every day. I seen my mama try to break her neck and do everything on her own. And so I came up with that same mindset. um Definitely learn behavior. Absolutely. Daughter, this is confirmation on what we as women need to speak on. I mean, I see there's so many people in here that I know that we can have probably all night live talking and talking and talking on these situations. Motherhood is a daily learning experience. It sure do. You learn something very very new today. And speaking on that, I can say today that I was doing no, it was yesterday. I was doing my daughter's hair. And somebody was speaking to my daughter and she kind of like shrugged her shoulders, but the person who was talking to her, she can't, she ain't really they couldn't see that she shrugged her shoulders, but she shrugged her shoulders in a way like she don't care what they saying. Well, today she was trying to explain that she wasn't rolling her eyes at somebody. And honey, that was time for me to let me shut my mouth and exit left from out of the room because I ain't finna defend it because I saw what you did yesterday. I paid attention to that behavior. Unspoken. This is the fourth type of podcast on the same topic, confirmation. Amen. Hey, if you getting confirmation in here, pay attention to the confirmation you get. Ain't no way you keep running into the same thing over and over again, and it's not confirmation about something. So you 47 years old. Yes, I'm 47. I'm actually not 47 just yet. My birthday is coming up the beginning of next month. No more suffering in silence. No, ma'am. Yes, this is tough for me as a stranger, so I can imagine how family feels. But you need support and a shoulder to cry on, encouragement, and an ear. You know what? I've never been a person to even cry. Actually, I've been a person that thought that um crying was a sign of weakness, and then I went from a crying is a sign of weakness to I usually had to cry tears to fight back the things that I really wanted to do to people. Because when you go through the things that I go through, um it's easy to get the thought in your mind that you will unalive somebody. Let me just say that because I ain't too good at with going live or whatever and saying certain things. But when you quiet like I was, and have all of the things built up in your mind that I had built up or have built up in there, it's very easy for your mind to go to a place of unaliving somebody. And even to a point that a pastor told me one time before, you have unaliving demon. And when he said it, I didn't receive it well. But when somebody else told me that in a different way, um, I was able to receive it. And when I was able to receive it, I was actually able to see it then that I actually did because my mind went to that place a whole bunch of times. I don't know why I'm saying all that, but I said it. There it is. You are being heard. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your life with us. Thank you for being here to listen to an unspoken truth. We've been exposing the trafficking rings for years. It's time to save our children. Amen. Global Empire. I'm with it because I don't want to hear. If it's necessary for a kid to talk, I want them to be able to tell it and speak it. But if we can prevent it from happening in the first place, will be the best thing ever for it not to ever happen again. If the law is not going to handle the predators, the streets, the communities need to handle that. Make it stop. Oh, I'm down for that right there. But even when I speak on that right there, I love to say that that ain't the hard part to come up with is what you gonna do with them. The hard part is making up when is the best time for you to do that. Because it's a time and a place for all of that. And I can say to that, and I'm gonna speak on that every chance that I get to, is a way to handle a predator. You want to keep your eye on the predator all the time, even if you got to get somebody else to keep your eye on them. But your main focus should be your kid. Because I can tell you, one of the predators done been handled in front of me, but the other predators didn't get handled because of the way that it was handled in front of me. As a 6-year-old child, it was real scary to see a fight break out, all of these grown adults fighting and everything. And somebody who, even the predator that touched me, I had love for him because he was a relative. It doesn't make a little child's opinion change that you don't love that person because of what they did to you. But to see a big fight break out, the next time, if anything, you ever have the opportunity to do something else to you, you gonna keep your mouth closed because that scary thing broke out. You seen your mama fighting, you ain't never seen that before. You seen somebody getting beat up that you ain't never seen before. None of that stuff never happened to me before. But all of that stuff set me up to be quiet for all the other things that happened to me in life. So um I'm not telling you to leave the predator alone. And as a matter of fact, I'm telling you to handle that because I know I would handle mine's on for sure. But I also got a husband that would gladly handle that. But I'm just saying, put it into perspective because you want your kid to be able to come back and say what they need to say to you. Freeing that throat chakra is a beautiful thing. Yes, it sure does. Do you do lots of journaling in this stage of your life? At this stage in my life, no, I don't do a lot of journaling. But before I got to this point in my life, I journaled every single day. As a matter of fact, I'm even thinking about pulling my journal back out and probably going along with telling some of the stories that I wrote in my journal where I was back when I first started journaling about all of the things that I was going through. So, but at this point, this is how I journal. I'm journaling. I'm doing a different kind of journal. I'm journaling on YouTube. Usually, before all of years and years of journaling, I wrote everything down faithfully every single day, everything that I went through. At your best, you are loved, Aaliyah. When you get time, listen to that song, my sister. Vela Breaker. I have heard it over and over and over again, and I absolutely love that song. Um, Once mine was healed, I never stopped talking. I was catatonic once. Never again. I know that's right. I sit and cry just in alone in it silence. Nobody knew that I was crying. Um, but yeah, I'm not in that place anymore. You know, nope. If I'm crying for a whole nother reason. Um, but yeah, I remember being there. I'm feeling such a beautiful wave of healing at this moment. I'm glad you feeling that. Amazing. That's so unfair. You deserve a conversation, especially if that's something you want. That's deep, yo. Wow. And the thing is, there is so many things that me and my auntie need to have a conversation about. Lots and lots of them. But I can't force nobody to have those conversations. And if she ain't ready for them, she ain't ready for them. And I don't fault her for it. But it also doesn't stop me from moving forward. So but Pretty Brown, you so crazy. you ate you ate something you forgiven people that hasn't asked for. Mm, 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 mm. You have you have to take your power back, because at the end of the day, forgiveness is for oneself. You've earned my respect. Absolutely. There's a lot of people that nobody has asked me for forgiveness. Um and I can't say that I've forgiven all. I'm in a different place with them. But sometimes I say, I don't know. I feel like on the inside of me that I've forgiven some people for some things that they done to me. But I'm almost like I need to be in the room to feel it. Have I actually forgiven them? So I've always said I'm the kind of person that I need to be in the same room with the person for me to know whether I've actually forgiven them. The elders sometimes did that to show love. A dollar was a big thing back then. Yeah, my grannies always gave us $1 back then. We could buy a whole bag of candy. Yep, you go to that candy lady store, and I'm gonna say this again. Every time I hear something about the dollar, and then you can go to this candy store and get it. You can't always trust the candy lady store either, because I'm telling you, some things happened to me at the candy lady store back in the day. So, and that's a thing that we always did. We had a candy lady store that lived down the street from us when we grew when we raised our kids in the family owned neighborhood. And I always, whenever my kids went down there, they had to go into a group. They all went down there together. You go down there together, you come back together. So I don't know who that's for, but don't let your kids go to the candy lady store by themselves. Did you ever receive any counseling? I have never been to counseling before. Nope, I haven't. I'm not against it either, but I've never been to counseling before. Global Empire. Jesus is my counselor. I talk to him every day, all day. But other than outside of that, no, I haven't gone to counseling. Street lights come on, and we were indoors. Amen to that. And I even with that, with my kids, they weren't required to be in the house. Be in the house before dark, because the kind of neighborhood that we lived in, and our house was directly across the street from the park, and it wasn't like no street. It was just like a ride through. But yeah, I didn't even keep those rules for my kids, but we had to be in the house before the street lights came on. Um Mine had to earn their allowance. My girls even cut grass for extra money. They are still entrepreneurs. Amen to that. I say it's a small voice, because if it screams in our subconscious, we would have a heart attack. Ooh, yeah, sure would. To think that you got to dump it all out at the same time. So it is better for it to come at little, just let it come out. Them little screams come out. Yes, I understand just what you're saying. We carry our ancestors with us. Yes, we do. Um, Even with two parents, they still had to learn values, especially manners and money. That's true too. Crying to avoid hurting people. Ah, yeah, I done had that before too. You crying, but you hide from people, because other people don't want to see you cry, because it bother them because you crying. So they'll stop you from crying because they don't want to see you cry because it bother them. So I've also learned in that way to cry alone by myself, and hopefully nobody don't catch me doing it. But now I'm at the moment now. If somebody catch me crying, they just catch me crying. It is what it is, and it's like, you crying? Yeah, I'm crying. Just leave me alone. Give me a chance. Let me do what I do, and we'll be all right. Someone will hear you. Reach out. Many are here to assist if needed. Thank you very much. My birthday right after yours. Mine is the 11th of August. Well, Charlie, mine is the 7th, boo. Yeah, happy birthday to you too. My birthday is August the 7th. Yes, ma'am. That's right. Keep sharing. You're pretty cool. I pray and hope you blow up. I want you to gain 100K before this year ends. All right, Teresa, speak it into existence, girl. Yes, yes, yes. It's and actually, I'll say something even about that. I'm surprised at where my page is even right now in this time. It has amazed me because the only thing I'm doing is I'm telling things that actually happened to me in real life. So, and like I said, I'm just journaling. So I didn't think that journaling this way that this would happen. Crying is just ice melting, keeping you from turning cold hearted. Oh, right. Golly, fella, I never looked at it in that way. I love that analogy. I'm going to read that once again. Crying is just ice melting, keeping you from turning cold hearted. Mm. It's healing, cleansing. It's okay to cry. Don't let it build up. Can have a good release and cry once you have the conversation with your family. Yeah, and I'm hoping one day that, at this moment in my life, me and my auntie haven't talked now in a few months. I don't know what she's going through. I pray for her all the time. And maybe she don't want to talk to me because I'm releasing some of the things that are in on the inside of me, and that's all good. But I have to move on with my life and do what's best for me because I've done what's best for everybody else mm, the rest of my life. So it's just time for me. And though I can say I don't care what nobody else think, I do care. But I'm choosing me. We almost had to be in before the street lights came on. I know that's right. I'm trying to tell you. Amen. Stay you. And that's what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna try to remain me. Now, I would have love to have a little conversation. Like I said, I don't work through all the comments and everything, but I don't know. How can I let's see. Let me see if I can learn right quick how to drop this drop this link in the chat. Let me see if I can make VS proud. Yeehaw, girl, look at there. I put the stream yard in the chat. Don't even know what I'm doing. But this is a chance that if anybody wanted to come up and be able to talk about something else, I got a good 30 more minutes that I can be on there if it don't go super crazy over that. But sometimes your flashbacks can be strong. So you gotta cry it all out. Yeah, I done had some days like that when the flashbacks are horrible. Um and when they get like that and they cost you sleep and stuff, those the things that make me come online and say, okay, I'm tired of going through that. I ain't gonna have another day like that. It give me a challenge for my own self. Honey, go and do something about it. You ain't gotta have now another night where you have a sleepless night like that. Let it go. So um all righty then. Hey Shani. I hope I'm saying your name right, but we got somebody in the back. Hey Shani, how you doing?
Hey, Miss Tashana. I'm blessed. I'm here. How are you?
Good, good, good to see you. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you for inviting me.
No problem at all.
Yes,
Let's talk.
ma'am. Okay, okay, man. I've been following you for a while now.
Very much.
And I'm gonna be honest, like this is my first time ever being on a live, and sharing some things that are, deep and dear to me. And there's been a lot that you have been speaking on from the day that I've started following you, that really resonated with me in a way that it's almost scary, because it's like, dang, is this coming to me? Or, just like you said in your life, I'm 40, I just turned 40 this year. And I've been through so much, that I can resonate with you on.
Mm.
Um, and speaking on these kids, it's a touchy subject for me for the simple fact I've dealt with a lot of things that you spoke on.
Right.
Um, And at one point, and this is hard for me to talk about because this is something I don't share with, strangers, but I feel like God brings people in people's lives for a reason. Um, and there was an incident, with my kids. I literally had to fight for what's right, because I felt like my mother, kept me from my father at a young age. And I didn't want my kids to go through that. I went through a bad divorce and I just fought for my babies, to have their father in their lives. And things took a turn that I never thought it would have took. And God gives you a heart of discernment, and I went through that, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to decipher it or understand it, and it's a scary thing, and I'm still battling. I'm still battling with it, and it gets emotional, and I'm gonna try to hold back from being too emotional. But girl,
So what? Tell me what was the first video that you came in and you saw?
the first one is really just speaking on life situations with family and breaking those cycles.
Oh, let me. I'm trying to think of which one because when you just speak on it, it bring it right back to memory.
You
Um,
better,
when
you
you
better.
dealing with generational curses,
There you go.
yeah. When
There
you
you
dealing with generational curses, they'll fight. Don't think they ain't gonna fight you back because they gonna give you the one too.
go, girl. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
tell you, I wanted to give up, and it was just like God was like, you can't. You got to be heard, whether whatever the outcome may be.
yeah.
Um,
Because you fighting against something that needs to be fought against. But if you think you gonna walk up and punch somebody and they ain't gonna fight you back, that generational curse gonna do the same thing to you that all the rest don't do. They gonna fight back now.
thank you,
Yeah,
thank you. Um, and like you gave me a lot of confirmation on a lot of things. Um, and with my kids, not to say too much, because I don't want to affect nobody or offend nobody.
right.
But I'm tired of being silent and holding in, what I've been battling, with these court systems, with people in general, you
Right.
know. And I had to fight, their father for them and was made out to be this person I never was and that I'm not, and actions speak louder than words. Um, but God came to me and told me a lot of things. And when I brought it out, it was so much that was used against me as I was crazy, I'm delusional, I'm this, I'm that. And it's not, when
And do
God
you
gives
know, not to interrupt you, but do you know a lot of people that say things that make sense? They always call the crazy you. That
you,
person that says things and speak up, you often are the one because I'm crazy. Everybody done told me, girl, you crazy. But for the most part, in my family, what I do is, and my sisters them in the chat,
yeah,
when you constantly tell me a story about somebody calling you crazy, I'm the one that'll actually give you that name and I'll call you that to take the sting out of people saying it to you
yeah,
because when you can take the sting out of what they say and you can see the opposite, it's the opposite of what they saying,
yeah,
you'll then start to laugh at people calling you crazy because you know. without a shadow of a doubt that you ain't crazy. So hey, make that your name.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that's
So,
why I say I'm aware of it very well. I'm gonna stop being
yes,
defensive over it, because
yeah,
this thing gave me so much motivation to
mhm,
show those around me who put me down, who took advantage of the situation.
right,
All I could do is make the best out of this and pray, that my kids are in safe hands. But it's weird because you still have feelings and thoughts, and when something is not lying right with you.
mhm,
And there's a lot that is not lying right with me.
yeah,
And it's like fighting hard for something that you stand for and you believe, and something that those who you have brought in the world, and you've been through so much as a child, and I can relate to you on so many different things you didn't spoke on. You as a mother, a loving mother, you got some mothers out here who really don't care. They'll chase a dollar, chase a man, and chase whatever dreams that they have and leave their kids behind and play this role as if you're the best mother. But
right,
you got those mothers and fathers out there, because I'm not going to take fathers out of the equation. You got fathers out here who really, really fight for the right thing for their kids. But then
yeah,
you have some who pose as these good parents, and it's nowhere near there. I'm sorry, I'm running from B, so
yeah,
I'm just like B. But you got people who pose to be something, and you know that they're not. And I was always taught that as a young child, what's in the dark will come to light. And there's a lot of things that have came to light. Um, there's been a lot of dreams in the past that when everything was fresh of what was going on, and I spoke on it. And like I said, they played me out to be crazy beyond crazy. But when I tell you God spoke and rang on it, because a lot of things that I was dreaming and speaking on came to
mhm,
pass, came to pass, and it crushed me.
yeah,
It crushed me because it's like I had a voice and I spoke as loud as God allowed me to speak. But so many people use that demise to shut me down, shut my voice down, and nobody had words to speak, nor did they want to join shoulder to shoulder to help me fight. And I'm like I said, I'm still fighting this fight because I want what's best for my kids. It's too many kids and babies out here who's being overlooked and being shut down and hushed because they don't want truths to come out. And like you said, it's time to let things come out. It's time to speak. You got a voice. God gave you a beautiful voice to speak. And that's what we have to do as women, as men. We have to change our situations. Nobody is going to change until we stand for something better and greater. So I want to thank you so much for just,
well,
man.
I thank you for coming up and sharing a little bit of your story as you talking and everything. I just say to you that whatever it is that you going through, whenever it's time for you to share it, you will share it with who you need to. But as long as you keep in mind that you do what you doing, how would you take care of a situation? How you want somebody to take care of that situation with you? As long as you got it in mind and you putting God first with whatever that you do, you it's gonna work out. And don't go through it thinking that you ain't gonna make no mistakes, because honey, you gonna make mistakes. I done been through the court system with one of my kids father. And I'll just tell you just a little bit of this, because I often say to people when I'm talking to people, sometimes I don't need you to I don't be wanting to know people's business, but I
Yeah,
can share my story with you and you will think that I'm telling you about your story.
yeah,
And you don't have to tell me anything. So I'm gonna tell you this one right here because this came to mind. I'm gonna
yeah,
do the same thing that I always do when I'm talking on the phone with somebody.
yeah,
So I'm making some decisions for my kids. I my oldest son,
yeah,
smart as a whip, very capable of making straight A's, but he loved to be a class clown. And he definitely was funny, very funny, keep the class going or whatever. But he would go to school and he wouldn't do anything and he would make straight F's, but he got everybody in school laughing.
yeah,
So I'm talking to his dad, is telling his daddy, hey, your son ain't doing what he supposed to do when he go to school and everything. But his daddy want to take him to Disney World and all Busch Gardens and all of this good stuff. And so I'm going back and forth with him and I'm like, hey, like, are you working against me or whatever? So after a while, when he's not doing what he got, I'm showing the report cards and stuff and saying, this boy got straight F's and you want to take. So I had to make a decision what was best for my kids because I'm not gonna feed you getting bad grades and I'm gonna feed that beast.
Yeah,
Oh no, we ain't doing that.
behavior.
So I had to make a decision and say, okay, well, if you going to Busch Gardens, SeaWorld, and all of this stuff, he can't go. You go ahead and go to Busch Gardens, you come back and visit him or whatever.
Yeah.
It didn't catch on to him to just stop telling me that he was going to take him these kind of places, because if you took him on your own and did it, then that's between you and God what you did. But over here, he ain't doing what he supposed to do. You ain't finna be taking him to no Disney World.
Yes,
Instead of him doing that, he took me to court for visitations.
Man.
And when I went in there, I didn't have one argument because he was sitting at my house just days before and could have told me that he wanted to work out a visitation thing. They've been coming over there hanging out anyways.
Yeah.
So have the conversation and say what it is that you want. Instead, he came over the day before and the courts came and served me the next day after they left from my house. Done ate dinner at my house, served them and everything. And I'm telling you, I'm speaking truth right here in front of him. I ain't had no conversation with him, no nothing. But this is my story. And I already don't warn people. I'm going to tell my story when I need to tell it.
There you go.
When we went to court, they put us in front of a mediator.
Yeah.
And everything the mediator was asking for, I said, whatever he won't, give it to him.
Yes.
Whatever he won't, give it to him. I must have said it about a good 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
When he came down to the part, he said he want to claim him on his taxes. I say, now that you ain't gonna have.
Yeah.
I say the law doesn't even allow for you to be able to have it. I say, but you ain't gonna have.
Yeah.
Out of all the stuff I done gave to him in the mediation, I let it go with whatever he wants to. But when it came down to him claiming him on the taxes, you ain't gonna do that. You can't do that. I ain't gonna let it happen.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he spoke up in the courtroom, told him why I can't have it. His wife tapped him on the leg and told him, don't even worry about it. I know, don't worry about it, because it ain't nothing. I said what I said and I meant what I said.
Yes.
So once you know that you've done your part, I'm gonna end my story right there, because I think I done told you enough already.
Yeah.
Once you know you doing the things that you're supposed to do, you ain't accountable for the way nobody else moving it. And whatever it is, don't let it get you mad. Keep on continue talking to God about it. He'll show you, even though you make mistakes along the way, be willing to make them and go ahead on. And the mistakes that you made, Lord, forgive me, and keep it pushing, honey.
There you go.
Do what is best for you, but don't go to that place of being because the nasty don't never work out with you. So you have to know you walking into it with a clean heart and not, hey, I tried the best that I can do, and we're gonna do this. Before we left, and the last thing I'll say about it is when we left, after the mediator finished with us, he turned around and looked at us. He said, y'all couldn't have did this outside of court. I say, obviously we couldn't. We ended up in here, and they was at my house the day before them papers were served.
Yes, it's always a financial gain within it. So,
but let me tell you something. You just said financial gain, because he was going there for something else. But see, when I was thinking, when you go to court, that the courts go by you and your husband's income, but when it's something like that, he go based off of your income.
There you go.
Yeah, remember, I said I ain't have no job. I was stay-at-home mama. I got zero income coming in, and this is the time he decided to take me to court. The court, listen, and a lot of people might take this and take it as a dig and think they can dig on me with it.
Yeah.
And I was declared indigent. Yeah. Indigent mean I ain't got no money, baby. But indigent never sounded so good, because when I went to court, they raised his child support by more than $100 and something and everything. He ended up having to pay all of the court costs and all of that stuff. So it didn't cost me anything, because I wasn't in it to be nasty. I knew I had the right intentions for my child. So as long as you got the right intentions, everything will work out well for you. And I also pray that it work out well for him on the other side, because he is a father at the end of the day, and you want your kid to have their father in their life. But sometimes you just have to, they both of y'all kids, so speak up for them. And the same way, if he speak up for him from his side, be willing to listen with that ear and let them do their thing. Y'all both parents.
Yes, ma'am. I thank you. I
You
really do. I thank you.
You are so welcome. I thank you for coming up and being my first person to get on one of my
Yeah,
lives.
it was the first one. First one, but yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much.
Yes, ma'am. And you have a blessed day, hon. Okay.
You do the same.
All right.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye. Oh, that was a nice little first time. Let me see what was said in the comments. I try not to read no comments while nothing be going on, because honey, I'll be all over the place. Then I won't be able to focus. Trying to have a whole bunch of conversations. Um, you ate. Let me go back to the right place. Someone will hear you. Reach out. Many are here to assist if needed. Thank you for that. That's right. Sharing, you're pretty cool. I pray and hope you blow up. Okay, we read that one right there. That's one of the last ones. Um, I think this one right here. We don't put that one there on the screen because I liked it, that one right there. Miss Vella Breaker, you did your thing with that one right there. We also had to be in before the streetlights. Amen. Stay you. Amen. Sometimes your flashbacks can be strong. They absolutely can. Not no more. Wow, sis. Wow, this is cool. Hey, beautiful. You have a beautiful smile. Stay strong. I'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for coming through. God bless and thanks for being so vulnerable. It helps more people than you know. My mom also had an affair with a married man. I was 9 and his wife used to call me crying. Ooh. Mm. Yeah, I keep saying that we need to have a long conversation about that video because y'all know that video got um 1.5 million views on it so far. And if you go look at the comments of what people in there are saying, it's heartbreaking to know that it's so many people that had that experience in life because it's so many ways that things can go wrong. I bet you we can have probably a good 10-hour live off of that right there. I get it. Hi, I got somebody else here in the bag. All right, come through, people coming to have a conversation with Miss Shauna. Okay, let me see. Add her to the stream. Hello, Miss Mama Global.
Hey, beautiful one. Oh my goodness, you are such an inspiration. You have no idea how many people you are reaching on today. I'm not here to take up your time because I just been enjoying. I've been watching you for a few moments now, not too long, but we found out about you through VS Icon, as a matter of
Oh, okay.
I just
That's
want to
that's
say,
my that's my coach. That's my coach right there. I've been watching her for 5 years, and I mean, yeah,
wow.
I always tell people, some people get so wrapped up in the midst of the storm that I was going through. I was able to watch her. It got a little entertainment with it, but it be so many jewels in there that if you too involved in the mess, you'll miss all the good old jewels and stuff.
Oh, wait, you ain't never lied about that.
Hey,
You
I
ain't
don't know
never.
what nobody else be watching, but I'm telling you what I got out of it.
You know,
For
I, I,
the
I
past 5 years.
barely, I barely drop down in chats now
Mm-hmm.
because I just like to observe. You know what I'm saying? And I go by frequency. I go by, you know, I always say your vibe attracts your tribe. So
Right.
it's, to me, it's not about clicks, views, how many, who's got this and that. All that don't matter. It's what can we do for one another? How can we heal, especially women of color and women in general? We need to know how to heal. And by sharing our stories, I believe that this is a start to where we're trying to get to. And I'm not giving up.
Right.
I'm not giving up. It's too many survivors out here. It's some that are still silent. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I think that through your bravery and so many others, these type of builds is what I call them. They need to be addressed. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So I just want to say congratulations. Keep up the great work. I've got some arts and crafts to finish for a baby shower, but I'll be tuned in.
Yeah. All right, then. Thank you so much for joining me.
Anytime. Bye, baby.
All right. See you later.
Bye bye.
Teresa said, mine was seeing you talk about taking in your siblings after your mom passed away. Ooh, a lot of people seen for the first time through that video. Wow, I feel I found my tribe. Thanks for being so honest. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank God we live in a time where it can be discussed with others. Being a victim during the hush hush generation stinks. Man, oh man, you ain't lying, and that's half of the hurdle to get over right there. Is when from people telling you to be quiet all the time. Don't talk about what go on in this house, this, that, and the other. It don't work. It just does not work. Jealous that you can be outside. It's 90 degrees where I am. Woo, she probably was outside and it's still that hot because it's sure hot, right? It's sure hot here. Yep, you ain't lying. It's hot. It's hot here in Mississippi. Yeah, I'm in Florida and it's super duper hot here. They don't want to hear the truth. That's why they sitting you down. Yeah, absolutely. My son was the class clown. No help from my ex either. So after a lot of prayers and threatening, he graduated with honors and 2 college degrees, staying firm with the kiddos. God is good. I ain't that a testimony? Because my son went to the military. The class clown went to military. Yes, he did. So yeah, he made his mama proud. He definitely did that. It really was awesome. She was able to get on and tell her story. Yes, it was. Um, Tashana, you are strong and smart. Thank you very much, J Mac. And I thank you always for being here to support. J Mac being the first one in there. I love her. Thank you so much. Okay, I read that. It really was awesome. She was able to get on and tell her story. Thank you, sister. Um, People use our stories as well. Oh, I ain't gonna even say it on here, but I pretty much I can't even imagine nobody trying to use my story against me. But I know of you saying it, I definitely know that they will. But I hope I don't ever have to. I really hope I don't have to run into that. But it's just sad that you even have to think about that. It's like that's something that somebody want to use against you. I'm so honored to be here on today. I'm glad you here too, Global. I know that we gonna have us a good old conversation. You just let me know when. Yes, love you right back. All right. God is so good. Yes, he is. Well, tonight I'm gonna say I think for my second live, this was kind of fun. And so I'm just gonna look for other stories and stuff to go. I gotta go back in my journals and stuff and see things. But as I said, as things drop into my spirit that I want to share or need to get off my chest, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna talk to y'all. So again, I thank you all for being here and joining me. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you all again for being here. And I think this is where we're gonna end our live at for tonight. Um, Remember, keep your kids close. It's better when you don't let them out your eyesight. Y'all have a good night.